Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. What does that mean? Well, to start this, for those who do not know me, my name is Trevor. I am a Christian. I am a certified financial planner. And I guess what I want to do is help people kind of reconcile their Christian faith with wealth. Because for some reason in this culture, those two may be conflicting in your mind for multiple reasons, right? I guess the one that comes to mind for most people is probably the conversation that Jesus had with the rich young man, where he asked God, what can he do to enter the gates of heaven? And God pretty much told this guy to sell all those things, give it to the poor, and follow him. And when the rich man walked away, Jesus told the disciples, it is easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. You read verses like that and you're like, wow, like if it means I'm going to go to hell, then I don't want money, right? It makes you think that having money may not be biblical, right? Well, yeah, maybe. And then you read verses like, it talks about how the love of money is the beginning of all evil, or all kinds of evil, it says. Another warning. So you look at these warnings in the Bible about wealth. You look at these warnings in the Bible about money, and you wonder, should I even have this? Well, you're not going to hell for being rich. Let's get that out of here right now. You do not go to hell for being rich. Right? You do not go to hell for being poor. You do not go to heaven for being poor. Right? But for those of you who are wealthy, whether that's by accident, or that's just by saving diligently or working hard diligently, however you acquired your wealth, maybe you just inherited a bunch of money. However you acquired your wealth, God provided that wealth for you. And what does God say you should do with your wealth? The Bible says in Proverbs 3, verse 9, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. And then carries on the verse 10 saying, then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. So, what does that mean? Well, don't take that as a prosperity verse. Don't try to make this into a prosperity gospel. But quite frankly, it does say that when you put God first, and you give to the Lord, and you honor God with your wealth, however that may look in your life, then God will bless you for it. He may bless you better financially. Maybe he fills you up spiritually. Maybe he just puts you in a better mental state. Maybe your relationships are better, right? Whatever that is, God will bless you for honoring him with your wealth. And this isn't exclusive to wealth. You can see anywhere in the Bible that God will bless you for honoring him, period. But when it comes strictly to wealth, God does say he will, if you honor the Lord with your wealth, you will be blessed. Now, what does that look like? How do you honor God with your wealth? Well, like I said before, God told a rich man to give your things to the poor and follow him. We should look at the same. If there are those people in need in your life, maybe you need to ask God, did you put this person in my life specifically so I can help them out? Maybe, maybe not. Right? There's going to be people in our life that, they're financially struggling, and quite frankly, is because of their own poor choices. And those people, we should guide them with wisdom. We should try to lead them to Christ. But it doesn't mean that we should be the first one writing them a check for $10,000. By no means. They could do anything with that check. They can inject that check in their arm. They overdose. Now your money led to their death. So of course you need to have wisdom to where you provide money to. Just because they're poor isn't a prerequisite for you to start giving money away. Right? But maybe there's people in your church that are financially struggling. Maybe there's people in your church that just lost their job. Maybe there's people in your church that can't afford groceries with the price skyrocketing. You look at these people, you hear their situations, you turn your ears, close your eyes. Maybe God's allowing you to hear those struggles that they're facing for a reason. All right. You have your church talk about their finance meeting. Is your pastor struggling to eat? Like, it's very common thought that you should be giving 10% to the church. I'm not here to say whether you should give more or less, right? But I'm just simply here to say, what are you giving to the church? Can you afford more? If you gave more, how much more would that help your church versus how much would that hurt you? If it doesn't matter if you write a $10,000 check to the church or, the $100 check to the church, if it's all the same in your books, if your life doesn't change at all, then maybe you should think about giving more if your church is in a bad financial position. When you look at your kids, the Bible tells us to take care of our household. Those that don't are worse than an unbeliever. That's a scary thought. Are you taking care of your kids? Are you taking care of your family? Are you making sure they have good food to eat? Are you making sure they have, nice clothes on their back? Gotta buy them designer, right? But their clothes are too small, it's tight, it's ripping, it's falling apart. Take care of your family. Make sure your family have clothes to wear, good food to eat. Your kids don't react well to processed foods and you got money to buy good foods for your kids, maybe you should be buying better foods for your kids. If your kids are adults, they're struggling to purchase their first house, they got kids on the way, right? If they're doing everything right, but their economic situation is hurting, don't be scared to jump in, right? Don't be scared to help them out with that first down payment on their house. Don't be scared to help them out to buy a car. Don't be scared to help them out to provide inheritance for them. And don't be scared to give them some of their inheritance while you're still living. So that way you can guide them along the way and teach them how to use his money wisely and properly while you are still here. Because quite frankly, if you don't spend all your money, they're going to get it regardless. Would you rather guide them now or leave them to their own devices after you're gone? So just some things to consider. Honor God with your money. It's not a sin to have it. It's a blessing. Remember that. But honor God first. Put God first. Everything on this earth is dust. Our inheritance is with God. It doesn't matter if you have lots of money in your bank account or barely any. It's all dust. One thing I try to remember is they say that when you get to heaven, the roads are paved in gold. The roads are paved in gold. And you think about gold just hit $4,000 an ounce. That's a lot of money. You in heaven, you chip off one little piece of that road. You got $4,000, right? Not actually, because we know that heaven is going to be so abundantly, so have such an abundance of just goodness that, gold is going to be completely pointless. It's just going to be there for its beauty, right? But just remember that. If we're going to be spending our eternity in a place where the most valuable asset in this world is used for roads, what does that mean about our bank accounts? How should that make us feel about the number in our bank accounts? How worthless is that number truly? And how can we use that money that God blessed us with to make a significant difference in the lives of the ones around us? Let me know what you think. Hope to see you soon.